Hey there everyone, and welcome to the channel. We're here for the final round of Season 2 of Ftrl ACC, the Championship decider, as we go in to this final round with a 12-point lead over Artemis, but it's double points, so everything is still to play for. Coming into quali, I forgot to record the first half, so you can see we set a bank lap time of a 19.62 minute 19.6, currently put us a provisional P3. So with these final 7 minutes to go, we're going to try and improve as much on that time as we possibly can. Coming out of the bus stop chicane then in first gear to get the best launch we possibly can. Coming across the line then all the way to the left hand side, braking just about the 100 board then, using the engine braking as much as we can. Second gear, first gear, use the camber on the inside to get the car turned flat out then in that first gear, getting a good run up this flat out section through the famous Eau Rouge Radion complex, and then all the way down the Camel Straight to the Lacombe chicane. So all the way to the right hand side, using the curb, little bit of a lift, just about flat out if you're brave, over Radion, and here we go onto the Camel Straight. A little right kink just before. You can see we're a bit up on our time there. So good sector 1 for the time being, just about a 10th up. Coming in to the Lacombe chicane, braking just at the start of the curb there, down to third gear, real trail braking and missing the apex a little bit, then having to run over this inside curb, costing us a little bit of time, and through this corner as well. Really want to swing it in third gear and get the car turned in, get the power on as early as you can, into Rivage then, again braking at the start of the curb, aiming at the apex into second gear, trail braking through this off camber right-hander. Really have to keep it tight and get on the power as early as you can, and then through into no name corner, use the curb and a little bit of a brake, all that curb on the inside, then flat out as soon as you can, and then into pull on. A very tricky corner to get right, especially in the Lexus, braking just before the end of the curb, down into fourth gear, trail braking in to keep the front pitched in, then flat out all the way through the rest of the corner into what I believe is the Stavelo chicane. Into the right then, just into third gear, and using the curb on the inside, and then all the curb on the inside, no gear changes for the left, into these double right handers then, third gear, braking at the start of the curb, steering as tight to that curb as you can, not on it though, and then this corner just about flat out. If you get it right, you need to hook the curb up though, very tricky to do, so just a bit of a safety lift, and you can see we're now 4/10 up on our time coming through sector 2. Now only Blanchimont, the fast left hander, and the bus stop chicane to go. Currently a few tenths off pole at this time, flat out through Blanchimont, and you can see it gained us about a further 10th, braking just at the 150 board then for the bus stop chicane, all the way down to second gear, trail braking and engine braking in first gear just to get the bite for the left, then flat out. You can see we've gained a monster amount of time coming across the line then, and it's going to be an 18.6, which puts us pole by, as you can see, 1 second there. But as we move on through the session, it's going to be only about a 4/10 pole time, but a very good time nonetheless as we move to the race. And weird thing happened with the race. They messed up the lobby settings, so it wasn't actually that long to prepare the car. I was still doing my fuel strategy, and because I then forgot to press start, I started from the pit lane and everyone else got drive through, so we decided it was best to just reset the lobby, restart the session, and we eventually got there done. But because the championship was at stake, I just kept doing laps until I knew it was going to be a restart. So I just got the laps in, got a bit of extra practice in, a few minutes, and just to make sure that the car was ready, I was ready to go. And if we didn't restart, I was still in a prime position to take my second championship in a row, undefeated then in Ftrl. If it does come to fruition, Artemis needs to finish 6 places in front of me. But now coming on to the real race start, on pole position then, using the second start line and keeping it all the way to the right, backing up everyone as much as I can, just to try and help my mate Trip, who's starting right behind me there in P3. So just coming up to the widget, trying to back up as much as I can, get him the speedo, crawling about 35 miles an hour, crawling up to the line, making sure I punch it as soon as it goes green. It is lights out and away we go, and it's a good launch initially. Great launch there by Tritt, and Blue Mosquito's got swamped there. He's got under pressure by Artemis into Eau Rouge, and he's lost 2 places already. We get a bit of a shaky start through Eau Rouge, but it's enough on these cold tyres just to stay in front of Tritt and reclaim that pole position for the time being. Tritt then going defensive on Tocco. This has given us all the best in the bit. for the for the rest of the race. So Toko putting pressure, our championship rival, on Trit. He can't quite get the move done, so it's going to be myself followed by Trit, who's had a monster start, then followed by Toko and Blue Mosquito in P4. So the strategy now is just trying to get these tyres into a window in order to have the best pace possible. You can see they're struggling to warm up, and Trit is all over the back of us. He has some monster pace in that Bentley Continental, and we're going to be struggling to keep up with him. But we had the pace in quali, no reason why we can't have it in the race. Usually our race pace is a lot better than our quali pace. Consistency is usually there for myself. Only taken one win this season, so hopefully we can make that 2 today. 2 hours then of this race, long way to go. Strategy is definitely going to play a massive factor in this race. Trip really putting the pressure on us now, and Toko keeping us honest, a second back. Blue Mosquito falling a bit back, about 2.5 seconds back now, as we try to round off the first lap. Just trying to keep it consistent, get the tyres warmed up, and you can see coming to end sector 2 that we've pretty much done that now. Just need to make sure the brakes are within the temperature window. I really did just struggle for straight line speed. Really, yeah, just struggle for straight line speed. Trit definitely had the grunt in that Bentley, and that is where I lost all the time, and I could really hardly ever find a window for the tyres, especially in these early stints. Just trying to find a good rhythm and keep the car under control and keep the pace where it needs to be. So rounding off the first lap, and we are going to be leading. Nothing really happened then, so we're going to cut to lap 4. Trit and Artemis still keeping us honest with some monster pace, then into the 20s when I'm still only in the 21s. Artemis matching Trit's pace. So at this point I really was, you know, Trit had some pace. I didn't really fancy battling him, so later on in the lap we've got also Toko trying to keep us honest, so I didn't want Trit to get backed up into Toko and get taken out or involved in any squabbles, so I thought it's going to be best if he goes and launches off into the distance. I want him to do as well as he can and not in a sense just pussyfoot around me, because that's not really fair on him. If he wants to go and win, he definitely can go and win. He has a lot of pace. You can see already pushing away from us now in this race, and also giving Artemis a little bit of a run there as we compromise the exit to get Trit through, but not going to come into fruition for him at the moment. Our pace pretty falling off now. We had a pretty good look, but as the track heats up, the temperature of the tyres also goes up as well. But cutting on to the next lap then, and you can see Artemis has got involved in a few squabbles behind Blue Mosquito and Pointage, which has given us a bit of breathing room as our pace starts to improve. The track starting to cool down a little bit more, and then we're able to keep with Trit. But a couple of laps later, and you can see Artemis has been released from that pack behind and is released to try and catch us, but our pace is improving now as the tyres get into a little bit of a better window and the car can be pushed that little bit better. So yeah, still, you know, now we're starting to match Trit's pace a little bit, but Artemis is still there keeping us honest. We're keeping the gap to him behind Blue Mosquito, trying to follow him to drive up to us as well. But you can see now he is starting to catch up, and coming into the Lacombe chicane, we go a little bit wide, same as we did in quali, and have to cut over that curb, which loses us a couple of seconds at least, which, yeah, is just not ideal whatsoever. The pace is now falling off, and as you can see, Artemis is catching up to us. The gap now only 1.6 seconds, as we're now doing 2:22 lap times, which are just not quick whatsoever. About half an hour into this race now, a quarter of the way done. Usually would be half done, still got 3/4 of the way to go, so just still trying to keep it consistent. And you can see Artemis has now really caught us up. He's now within 5/10, and the slipstream as well as that Bentley grunt to propel him down the straight. Is he going to be able to have a look into the bus stop chicane? We don't get the run we need, so we're going to go defensive to not let him through. He's going to look to the outside. That's not going to work. I'm going to brake as late as I can on these old tyres, get stopped over the apex and retain this position, but he needs to get a good exit. Can't quite get it, and he has a little bit of a squabble there on the exit. Now 1 hour 27 to go, a long race to go. Only 15 laps in on this occasion, but you can see how much he is lapping faster than us. He's all over the back of us then is Artemis. I get the initial pull out of the corner. He brakes a lot later. I get the initial pull out, and then as soon as it balances it out, the Bentley just has the grunt. Especially through Eau Rouge, I was really struggling for grip, keeping it in 5th gear, lifting off completely. Could not take that flat, and you can see Artemis has a bit more confidence than we do, giving him the better exit onto this long camel straight here at Spa. Keeping it all the way to the left hand side, just looking behind us, making sure we know where he is. It doesn't matter if Toko finishes in front of us in this race, as long as he doesn't finish in front of us by 6 places. So really just thinking about the championship here. I don't want to get into too much of a battle. Of course I'd like to win the championship by finishing in front of my main championship rival, but the main thing is to win the championship. So if he wants to go for a move, I'm not going to fight it too hard and give him as much room as I possibly can, because the last thing I want is to take myself out and be on the back foot for this race. I'd rather be the one in control and have him the one that is under pressure and try and divert all that pressure of me having everything to lose onto him trying to win it. So I did not want to be on the back foot. I wanted to stay in front and just not be like 6-7 places down with the chance of losing the championship, and give him that mental advantage. So going for a back-to-back ACC championship. Pace looking a bit like I'm not making mistakes per se, but definitely it's a bit inconsistent with the windows. So I have a really good outburst of pace, then the pace will really drop once again. But you can see Artemis all over the back of us in that middle sector, really pushing us through the corners and keeping us honest, keeping the pressure on. I'm not budging for the moment, but anything can happen. We've got about 5 minutes until the pit window. I really did think to just go 40 on the stints, just even it out. I'm not trying to overcomplicate things too much, but you can see as a good run, he's going to look to the inside for the bust up chicane. Doesn't brake late enough to go for the move, kind of backs out of it, sets up a good exit off the bus stop chicane, coming on to lap 16 of the race. Then Trip flying off in front. Artemis in our slipstream can't quite get us on this occasion, and is going to try and have a look potentially to get a good exit. You're really pushing us through the source. We get a good launch. He gets a pretty good launch as well, keeping us on the radar, just looking to see where he is. About 3/10 back now, coming onto the camel straight once again. He is keeping us honest, and it is going to be difficult for us to keep him behind. He has a lot of pace, but up in front you can see Trit has spun round at the top of the hill. Don't really know what happened there. Apparently he went over the curb as usual, and the car just took off, had no front end grip, and completely lost the rear end while doing so. So this is now a fight for the lead between myself and Toko. Trit, with the pace he has though, as long as he hasn't picked up any damage, should definitely be able to catch up and reduce the deficit to us behind. But yeah, Toko really keeping us honest now, and he's going to see Trip bottling it as a sign to push. He wants the race win to go for his 4th win of the season. He has about 4 or 5 race wins in total in ACC, 3 this season, of course, myself with 4. However, my overall consistency has kept myself on top of the points. Don't really, you know, race wins are cool, but I'd rather championships. But definitely next season looking to improve the race winning factor, and a few race wins I could potentially have missed out on, but the overall consistency and keeping it in the top 5 is all I need to do, and it is pretty worked dividends so far. As soon as it doesn't work, I'll definitely be pushing it a lot more. You can see on this lap and this particular occasion, Artemis is really keeping us honest now. His tyres are really in that prime zone to stay with us, and of course now in the slipstream. 3 minutes until our pit window, and I believe Artemis is going to go a bit longer, but we get a bit of a shaky exit, so he's going to have a mega launch similar to what Trit did. And coming through Blanchimont, he's going to stick it on the outside. I'm not going to give him the room, especially on these old tyres. I'm just going to push on, and he's going to drive himself off the track. Definitely contact indefinitely. So we're going to hold on to the position for now, half-heartedly in the middle of the track, just to try and keep the position, parking on the apexes to make sure he doesn't have the run. He looks to the outside, looks for a cutback. We got the power as early as we can. He gets on earlier and has a great run. We're going to go defensive to the inside for the source. He's flashing his lights, and he's going to go to the outside. We're going to go with him just to open the corner up. We break a little bit too late. I'm going really deep. He's going to set up a cutback. We get the car pinched back just in time to have a good enough exit to give him a run. On the run down into Eau Rouge, he's going to be on the outside, which will turn into the inside. Again, it is Eau Rouge though, very tricky to go on the outside. I'm not going to give an inch. Is he going to be the one to back out? He is. He's going to set up a better exit through Eau Rouge and onto the Camel Straight, and he's done that pretty well. Respect to him there. We're giving each other a lot of room. This is a good battle between myself and the championship rival of Artemis Tocco. Then coming down the Camel Straight, and he has an insane amount of straight line speed. We're going to try and keep it on the inside. We're going to brake as late as we can. Is it going to be enough on this occasion? Not quite. Then Tocco takes the race lead with his supreme pace advantage over ourselves, and Pawnage looking behind after that squabbling. So then skipping on, I thought, this is just this, this is definitely the lap to come in. The tyres are off, and we're about 40 minutes into the stint now anyway. So we're going to come into the pits, adjust the pit strategy, lower the amount of fuel we're going to put into the car. Still a bit too much though, and it's a very long pit lane here at Spa, so do not want to spend any extra time in the pits than we need to. Coming through the pit lane and the GT pit lane, and we exit here around about that Eau Rouge. So you come in at the bus stop and come out at the top of Eau Rouge, essentially. Now, our crucial job here is to try and come out in front of people who we need to come out in front of. There's Trit coming up the hill now. He's managed to get in front of Blue Mosquito and Pawnage, and he's got a run on us. He is a lot quicker in this stage of the race. He made up that spin just by going that lap earlier on the pits, and he is on the back of us now. So we need to use Trit to catch Artemis and make sure we get an undercut as much as we can. These tyres really not wanting to come into a window, and that is the unfortunate thing. Trit really pushing us through the corners. The Lexus really struggling on warming the tyres out through Rivage. Then are we going to fight him too much? He is pretty much one of our best mates, so we don't want to hold him up too much, especially if he has the pace to win, and it would be unfortunate if we do cause each other to crash, similar to Catalonia earlier in the season. Then and Nico in the pits. Is this going to be the lap that Artemis comes into the pits, or will we have to wait a lap longer to do so? Trip with a good run. I am holding him up on this lap while our tyres warm up, so I don't really want to hold him up too much. Might just be best to let him through, similar to how we did previously in the stint. Still not even halfway through the race just yet, about 44 minutes through. So perhaps it is best to just use Trit to drive up to Artemis and help us get that undercut. So if he gets a run, we're not going to fight it through this corner. Then is he going to have the run? It looks like he is. Get on the power early enough, have the run on us coming out. It looks like we could potentially have lifted off a bit earlier to get a better exit. Instead we went in too fast, and that cost us on the exit instead. But now, as it is the midpoint of the race, we're just going to use Trit and try and keep his pace. And you can see Artemis comes out 7 seconds in front. Really good with his pit stops then. Really not, scraping off any time whatsoever on his tyres. And this is now mine and Trit's job to try and catch up to him. He goes a little bit wide through Lacombe, and this is now mine and Trit's job to catch up to him in this race. He's about 4 seconds in front now, so me and Trit just getting our heads down to catch the race leader. We both want to finish 1-2. Definitely would be good for the Karcher Chroma boys, and a good way to round off the season for us. To shame Cornelius or Tumble couldn't be here to do it with us. Just didn't have the really the will, couldn't be bothered to do it basically. But now you can see we're matching Trit's pace as we approach the halfway point. He does a 20.1, we do a 20.4, so the pace is a lot closer to him now. So not too bad at this stage of the race. Another update, we can see we're now lapping faster than Trit and Tocco, and the gap is now down to about 5 seconds, and we're chasing Trit as well as we approach the halfway point of the race. Then
I left straight away. It was 2 hours Spa and I got pulled.
Yeah, so now at halfway point, just another update. We're now matching Trit's pace at this point in time. Still in P3 though, still good enough to win the championship as it stands, so not too bad. But Trit, just sending himself to a completely different universe there. Do not know what was going on whatsoever for him. Just completely lagged, and yeah, his internet was cutting out, unfortunately, and he couldn't retain in the party. However, managed luckily to stay in the race. So this is now hammer time for me and Trit, and I'm going to look to see if I can make an overtake on him in this stage of the race. So chasing Trit down now, and the Lexus has really come alive in the later stage of the night stint. Then we're all over the back of him and still chasing Artemis down as well, really closing up, under braking. Don't want to hit into the back of him though and ruin both of our races. Blue Flag and Pornish Town about 15 seconds behind, then 10 minutes until our pit window, and it is crucial now we try and catch Taco. So I'm just going to try and get past if I have the pace. If he does, then we're going to hold station and use our racecraft to catch Taco. We are looking very consistent at this stage in the race. The lap times really are close together, and no mistakes from myself or Trit. He gets a little bit of a squam though through No Name. Still getting a good enough exit to retain the position though. We're not going to quite get a run through the corner then, but still following him as close as we can, trying to stick with him and hopefully have a run. The gap is about 5/10 then, and we're in the slipstream of him, trying to get past. Can we though? We're not quite quick enough on the straight line to be able to do it. We're closing in the corners, and then as soon as we have to pull out or have a straight line of a corner, it is just not good enough to hold on to Trit. So coming through these couple of corners then, we're really pushing the car. We're going to try and take this corner flat. We're just playing our understeer though off the track, nearly hit the wall, so we're going to have to bail to the runoff, and that's going to ruin any chance we have of catching Trit and passing the gap now, just extending as we get a poor exit on the straight. First real major mistake of the race, apart from that mistake at the chicane then. And an hour later in the race, 45 minutes to go, you can see Trit has really caught up to Artemis then, and we have about 5 minutes to go. It is now daytime as well, sun's starting to come up, and that is not doing our tyres any good, especially in this last stage of the stint. So Trit is on the back of Artemis then, and definitely you can see the gap is coming down to about 2 seconds then between myself and Artemis, about second and a half to Trit and Artemis. So these two are definitely going to be looking to have a bit of a battle in this stage of the race. But coming through Blanchimont then, you can really see Trit is pushing Artemis. So my theory was these two are going to start battling. I should pit now, especially as it is overtime to pit. So I'm going to pit now, and hopefully as they start to battle, I can get a bit of an undercut. So I come into the pits then, peel into the pits for our final stop, second mandatory stop of the race, racing it to the pit line then, and down to first gear, pit limiter on. And we're going to see if this strategy pays dividends for us in this race. We have 40 minutes to go. It is really the final sprint, and yeah, so hopefully the theory works and Trit battles, but potentially they could come in on this lap and we wouldn't gain as much. We need them to stay out for a couple more laps at least while our tyres come into the window and get warmed up, so we can try and chase them down. Blue Flag also yet to pit. So through these corners then, and to see where Trit comes out, you can see he come into the pits on this lap, so we're not going to gain as much as we could. He didn't battle really with Artemis, so Trit is in front of us then, and it is our job to try and chase him down. He's gained about a second on us in the pits as well, not ideal because of the tyres just not warming up. So we're now behind Trit on the back foot then, as Artemis is also looking to try and stay ahead of us. Half an hour left in the race then, and you know, this is the time where we do not want to make any mistakes. We need to get that undercut on Artemis while he has the worst tyres than myself and Trit. The gap's staying the same as well. Mine Trit's pace pretty even through most of the race, and then on the run down into P1, he extended quite a bit through No Name corner, so he's got the pace on us. But coming through P1 then, we chuck it in and use all the track on the exit, try and bite it back for a flat exit, but you can see we use too much of the curb. The car jumps, gets unsettled, we keep the power pinned and we try and save it down a gear, and that probably was the mistake. You can see the car's gone and we sent spinning and spinning, and get the car restarted pretty nicely, and a lovely 360 save there, but just wasn't ideal. And you can probably hear on the party chat that is any chance I have of winning the race gone at this stage. So you can see now Artemis is in the pits and coming out. Let's see if we did manage to get an undercut on him despite the spin. You can see Trit has managed to get in front of him then, and Trit has managed to get the undercut, and we probably would have done the same had it not been for the mistake. And yeah, that's really unfortunate, but Taco really trying to chase Trit down at the stage of the race. About 10 laps to go then, 20 minutes in this race to go. Trit extending the lead a little bit, but as you can see now, something really interesting has happened. Looking at the leaderboard, and Artemis has a drive-through, which I was over the moon to see. me and him, you know, bit of quarrel, not the nicest atmosphere between me and him, so you can hear me laughing, and you know, not the nicest words coming out of my mouth.
He can suck a fat penis.
So obviously a bit in the moment as well here.
Artemis, bye.
So I was pretty happy to hear that he was out of the race, and it has a drive through. Obviously a bit of quarrel in the moment, though. Didn't mean to say as many bad things. You know, we're not the best of friends, let's just say that much. But promotes us into P2 as we come onto the final lap of the race, just trying to hold back and keep the gap going. Blue Flag and Blue Mosquito starting to chase us as well. We had a couple of mistakes in that final stint that didn't help us either, but mainly, you know, we're in P2, we're winning the championship as it stands, so we do not want to take any risks whatsoever in this last stage, especially on the last lap. Even if they are catching and get their way through, you know, P4 would be enough to secure the championship. So if they catch up, good for them. I would love a battle though. So obviously, if it is easy as just crossing the line with no battle, I would much rather that. But if there is going to be a battle, I will fight it as much as I could just to make it a little bit more interesting. Nothing really happened in the race, as you can notice. I have tried to crop it up and make it as entertaining as possible, of course, though. Catch and Lee, though, and this is definitely the last lap. Trit has gone. His pace was immense. He's now 20 seconds in front and is on course to win his second race of the season. We're on course to take I can't even count however many podiums, and the footage got a little bit weird with the recording, so if there's a bit of jumps, I do apologise for that. But Blue Flag still 4 seconds back. Looks like they had a bit of a fun battle as we ran the Stavlo chicane for the final time on lap 50 then, and 50 laps of Spa does take it out of you. I was sweating, I had a hoodie on, my light was on, it was really hot, and it was 10 o'clock, so I was tired, my back was hurting, I was sweating. Yeah, I was not the most comfortable person, let's just say that much. And Lee Cole, you know, just having a bit of banter with him. just having a bit of banter with him then on the fight chat. But rounding the last couple of corners then, for the final time this season, we bust on Kane at Spa, and for the final time this season, for the second time in the row, we're going to cross the line at the season finale as the Ftrl ACC champion. And yeah, it was a great feeling. Our safety rating goes up a couple of times as well. Trit wins the race just for good measure, so it's a 1-2 for us, and we're going to celebrate with some good old donuts then to round off the season. I think a couple of drivers are going to join us as well, just to celebrate the second Drivers' Championship in a row here in FTRL. The year has been pretty successful for myself in league racing. Start of the year, we had the FTRL GT Sports Season 6, Group 4 and Overall Championship. Then we took a bit of a break from league racing. We come back, we joined FTRL ACC, rejoined N5, you know, rejoined N5, finished runner-up there. Joined FTRL ACC, won the championship, the inaugural championship. Then a couple of weeks after, we became the N5 season 5 champion, season 4 champion, and that was also pretty good. On course to hopefully win another championship in N5 as well. A couple of rounds in and we lead the championship undefeated at the moment. But now, you know, just to top off the year, we have taken another ACC championship, which is just amazing for ourselves. So it's been a great season, really consistent from myself, especially in this Lexus. So it'll be interesting to see if we can defend it for another season then. But yeah, just doing some donuts to round off the season. It's been a great season. I appreciate all the support you've shown on the videos, guys. It's been amazing to see the progression of the channel, and how much you guys have been enjoying it. So if you have enjoyed it, do like and subscribe, guys. It is greatly appreciated, and you know, very heartwarming to hear some nice words from everyone, especially those at the APP F1 and the Redline Racing community as well. A lot of nice words from those guys, so shout out to all of them. Their links and everything should be in the description. If it's not, just go type in APPF1 and it should come out. AP Pals especially, really supportive of the channel, and great amount of respect goes out to him. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you have enjoyed the video. If you have made it this far, do like and subscribe. The driving school series will be out before Christmas. Going to be a bit busy, so I'm going to release it a little bit earlier. Sorry for it not being up last Friday. I was just so busy I couldn't get it done. So it will be up this week for Apexes and Acceleration, so do definitely check that out if you are interested, as well as all my other videos which will be found on the channel page. If you have enjoyed then guys, see you next time.